This is Dorian Vasquez, basically ripping off Robert Rodriguez. Let's just get right into it. A lot of these shots that we got with the tone that starts to drift in, that was just basically me playing on my guitar at home. This, in fact, is actually just the guitar playing in reverse. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford somebody to score this, so I basically just recorded everything secondhand. Except for the dialogue. That's like pretty much the only thing recorded the day of. The thing was, I wanted to shoot this fast enough that we can get it all done. I knew almost exactly what I wanted for almost every scene. So I storyboarded everything, and I even did a lot of video storyboards.
I think for the tracking shot, we're going to start here with a closer lens. I might actually use the 120 on this and just shoot from farther back. And essentially just use the slider. I don't know if I want to go around the tree like this or if I want to do it from up close.
This is actually one of my favorite shots because it starts with that one-way in place, and I didn't really expect to do this. This was just something that ended up happening on accident. It's a little pretentious, I admit, but we went with it. This car actually belongs to Tom Crolius. He's one of the guys who helped me on this. Really funny comic. This shot of Paige actually approaching the car was the first thing we recorded throughout the day. We shot that first thing in the morning because our other actor in this, Andrew Thomas, he had to leave after a certain time, so we tried to get everything with him out of the way as quickly as possible. That fucking split diopter, man, that was one of my favorite shots, and I've been waiting for the day to use a split diopter. I made sure to write that into this script, into just this particular script.
Something like this might have to serve it more, which would be this in focus, and then like either see him through the gate and then we just pan up as he sticks his head in.
One thing I will say about Paige Campbell as an actor, man, is this guy really took very teeny tiny directions and just went with it, and it worked beautifully. I've worked with a lot of actors in the past who need to know motivations and things like that, and I will admit, I'm a terrible scriptwriter. Most of the things I write just sound like me. I pretty much just had to let him run with it, which is what I like to do. I like to let actors just kind of run with what they think the character is, and I like to give them basic hints. Most of these shots that we got only took maybe 1 or 2 takes throughout the whole day. It was a pretty great experience of working with this guy. Those grunts are actually mine. I just pitched them slightly down so that they sound like Paige. That's actually my bike he's pulling on in this shot. There's a lot of bikes in this area, and we didn't want to mess with anyone else's stuff. I figured if anything's gonna get messed up, it should be mine. This is kind of a weird shot, but this is basically just me with the same stabilizer I wear. And I do a lot of these shots with a stabilizer for the first half. You'll see a lot of the camera shots are a little bit more stable than in the second half, and that was kind of done on purpose. This is a very blink and you'll miss it, but you can see Jake Lipinski, who's one of the guys helping me that day. His head pops out just slightly behind the tool shed as Paige walks by, and that was on purpose. Like, I didn't want to show that there was somebody actually watching him, but it should feel that way. You shouldn't have to see him, you should just kind of know. So we see another arrow pointing in the opposite direction. Again, just a little happy accident that ended up happening.
Pull out as we dolly in to him grabbing the package and walking away with it.
This we actually did on a 3-foot slider with the camera on it, and the one thing that sucked was we shot the first scene with the car, which had a bit of a push to it, and then we went to shoot this and we realized that the camera with all the hardware on top was just a little bit too heavy. So I spent a good chunk of time just sitting there trying to unscrew the slider and get it back to where it needed to be. We expected to shoot him actually walking through Philadelphia with this box in different parts, but really time constraints and budget didn't really account for any of that. Also, the neighborhoods we're in aren't really the safest on the planet. You don't really want to have, $5,000 worth of gear on your back walking through North Philly. It's, just not the best. Right here, the guy that actually comes out as a figure is not the same guy we see in the earlier shot. That's actually Gio Vasquez. Earlier it was Jake Lipinski. I didn't think it really mattered. We just needed somebody in a hood, somebody who's just kind of hiding in the background. It's meant to be a shadowy figure anyway. These night shots were actually the last thing we shot. Once we wrapped on just about everything else, in fact, we tried to hide it as much as we could, but that's not even the same box. This is actually a box we found after we cut it up and did the head roll shot at the end of the film. That Venom head was another kind of mistake. That Venom head was actually like mantled to my in my room as a decoration. I thought it would be great to just have a random head on the floor, just to kind of give you a little bit of foreshadowing. This shot, the drugs that Paige actually reaches out for and grabs, that's actually just rock salt. I thought it was going to be in better light, and I actually did a lot of experimenting where I tried to paint it with different types of food coloring and different other little things. I put a little bit of dirt in there just to try to make it look like, you know, dirty drugs. Turns out you just needed rock salt and some bad lighting, and it just looks like regular drugs. A lot of this noise we got secondhand on the fly, which I did film a little bit of him doing stuff around rummaging and all that. That's actually Paige dropping stuff and rummaging. That's meant to be the point of view of a severed head. I figured I tried so hard to keep the camera rolling out without actually trying my best not to damage the camera or knock the battery off. Unfortunately, old V-Lock batteries don't really lock that well. Well, that's a pseudo making of my proof of concept for Porch Pirate. This actually might end up being the new opening scene. I might have to redo a couple things, but I think I could use a lot of the same cuts and use it in the opening scene for Porch Pirate. If you'd like to see more, we are going to be shooting this probably in around the mid-fall. There's a link to my Indiegogo campaign in the description if you'd like to donate. I don't expect a lot of people to. I actually expect to just pay for a lot of this myself. But if you can help me out, that'd be great. I am planning to get like t-shirts and things like that, you know, basic stuff. Well, yeah. That's it. Speeding, rolling, go ahead, we'll go with the rummage.